This actually came out on February the 23rd, 22nd. It's been ages since I've done some No Man's Sky content. I've very much savoured making this video because we've got something hidden in these patch notes that is only found on the website. I am CouchCoop and welcome to my No Man's Sky patch 4.1 review. It's called Fractal and it's got a badass new ship in it, which I didn't get anywhere near. I didn't rush to this update because I presumed it was mostly PlayStation VR 2 compatible stuff that was going in and sorting out the VR, and they've sorted out the frame rates massively. It was one of the weaker VR ports for the original base level system. I'm obviously super interested in that HDR lighting improvement mentioned in the website patch notes. This game never had a huge problem with its HDR implementation, but it did have some bloom issues, especially in that port, in that multiplayer hub, and that's definitely been ironed out. By the way, if you guys know about my updates and my captures, the first time I land, literally, right over the head. Now look at this dissipation on how it goes into the ground and also how it comes out of the ground. If you remember this game on launch, when you saw these things, they didn't put them in at the beginning, but they just sort of clipped out. They looked like steam trains or something. It was very weird. This looks so much better. There's still some weird stuff going on with that almost negative appearance on draw distance, but very pretty game.
Thermal protection falling.
Found a nice looking planet where it looked like HR Giga himself had taken a number 2. It's always good to see some variation, and that is kind of the side topic of this video, alongside looking at this HDR, which again is very difficult to carry over on YouTube. It's quite a nightmare to capture HDR properly on a PlayStation 5. Right, back to this variety topic. I'm obsessed with the algorithm and the put out of the appearance of the monsters, aliens, creatures, whatever you want to call them on the planets, and of course the foliage and fauna. In the game's opening year, I went ham on warping around to try and exhaust that variety loop, and did and didn't, but there was a particular asset or bunch of them that just kept appearing and destroying it for me. Everyone knew about this ocean-wide puddle deep scenario. Then we saw some sort of vast improvement around the Atlas update time. They started staggering the different bioforms on each planet with coloured galaxies, and you couldn't get to what we call, inverted commas, decent stuff, i.e. good variety or high, it just flew past as I get back in on the way out as well.
Protection falling.
But my point is, the game in recent years, if you don't invest in upgrading your engine, you are stuck in a sort of low tier algorithm for cool looking planet. I have used this opportunity in this video to upgrade my drive and get a look at the red planets. It's coming up. It was a hell of a moment for me, to be fair. Now, just back to my point, I'll get there, I promise. In that opening year, when I was galaxy hopping in everywhere, I saw some really crazy stuff. Some planets that were like green meadows with just only red plants and these amazing rock formations. They were obviously endgame formations. That has long gone because I'm now having to stagger up the ladder for this galaxy tier list. This guy's pretty cool, obviously not in this update, but the anomalies are really great to come across, and he's sort of, you know, powered along by his own flatulence. Jesus, well, we've all been there. If we're talking about some of that older stuff getting put in, I'm also still in awe of how cool the asteroid fields are and how scripted that guy is who comes along and does a bit of drilling when you're suspiciously hanging around an asteroid field. I was like, oh my god, RNG, what are the chances of seeing that first time round? It's happened every time I've started shooting at asteroids from there on in. There's also what looks to be a sort of space electrical storm going off in the background behind those asteroids. That sort of stuff really spices things up and is so great to still have it make you smile this long after it being implemented. Let's have a look at that old fly-in, pop-in test and how it's performing. By the way, this is 1080 and 60 frames per second, so we're going to see more smoother frames than we are actual granular detail. But either mode should not really affect that pop-in rate, and it's healthy, it's not bad at all, it's still there. Of course it is. This thing's dealing with populating an entire planet's surface as you rock up, but smoother than it certainly was a long time ago. No major jumps on this particular patch, but then again, there was no real mention of any. Is that HDR? Is that bloom and light adjustment sort of kicking in and getting a bit better? Yeah, it's massively cooler looking on some of the direct sunlight views. You don't get this washed out white that you used to see, especially on a lot of interiors, but more when it was daytime. Cadmium drive, bloody thing, had me doing that asteroid run for ages. Pirates turned up, I shot them. Sentinels turned up, I shot them. I had to load up a previous save. It was difficult. I'm quite literally vibrating at this point. I just think I have waited for years to get up onto this Red Galaxy section, so whatever happens, it's going to disappoint me. But there's some good and bad stuff. Most of it's pretty good, but there is one bad thing, but I'm pretty sure it was just luck of the draw. He says that to himself after 2 years of trying to get this game to kick out a decent alien. So straight up, I got vibes of when I first played it in those opening years, those opening months even. Really strong, vivid primary colours used and quite different, more hectic landscapes, and the actual plants themselves being vastly different. Not just a little bit different, vastly different. I was like, whoa, this is straight up worked. I'm feeling like I'm in a new Galaxy tier. I think now the game's matured, it's a little bit more about base building, and those amazing land-based vehicles you can have on your planet, farming and harvesting and employing people and having all those freights, even having wingmen. The whole game has become larger than just trying to stretch that planetary variety algorithm, but we are certainly getting there. And one of the things that happened is I broke a record immediately on the second planet in the Red Galaxy with the toxicity. It was worse than Twitter, this planet. What was it, 11.9 tox? So it was, yeah, I got an achievement. I was pretty happy for a game I've probably spent 150 hours on. Then I went for a walk over a hill and bumped into the last person in the whole universe I wanted to see. It was the first alien I found when I first fired up the game back in 2012 or whenever it was. A pain went right through my heart. I was like, Red Galaxy, it looks like I've got to get to green, which means a whole lot more shooting asteroids and getting killed by pirates.
Extreme water toxicity.
Also, went for a swim to escape the radiation. Turns out that's worse than the actual air itself. So it was quite eventful stepping into my new Galaxy tier, but there's a lot more work to do from my side, I feel. On a plus note, in the safety and comfort from the ship and the fact that it had got to daytime on the planet, these colours really started bouncing out. It was so stunning to see that turquoise against the purples. The range is definitely increased, along with the lighting as well, but it really does pop out now. Eyeball wateringly good visuals for a space game. You're looking at no competitors on how pretty the planets have got. It totally left Elite Dangerous in the dust on that front. I remember when that Horizons update, everyone was like, oh, it's all going to go no man, no way. No way, Man's Sky. I really enjoyed that, making that. I love this game. It's totally awesome. It's such a brilliant game to just enjoy and capture. And talking about enjoyment and capturing, holy shit, Atomic Heart, can you stop being amazing? I've been Couch Coop. What's he dead?